how to overcome the fear of death. We live as if death is something that happens to others, somewhere in the distant future. Yet quietly, beneath our ambitions, our routines and dreams, there is a constant fear that one day this will all end. Why does something as inevitable as death fill us with so much fear? Is it death that we fear, or the end of the identity we call me? And what would change if we are able to overcome this fear? Hi, this is Vasudevan, author of Follow Your Heart, Your Brain is Stupid. Let's jump into yet another extremely interesting conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today Vibha Nasheen. Vibha has been featured on this channel a couple of times earlier, so therefore I'm not going to take your precious time in introducing her. In the last episode, Death is Not a Loss, Vibha shared with us why we shouldn't consider death as a loss, a death of a loved one as a loss, because death isn't the end but the beginning of another journey. That episode generated a lot of interest and there were a lot of questions which came in. If you haven't watched that episode, please do so, because this episode starts where that ended. You can watch that episode there. In this follow-up episode, we'll be exploring yet another dimension of death. Vibha, before moving into the topic of this particular episode, two questions I would like you to address, because a lot of people had asked the same questions. Whilst we have answered those questions on the channel, but I thought these two questions are going to be in the minds of a lot of people. So I thought let's address these questions. Are you fine with that?
Yes, absolutely, Vasud. And thank you so much for this follow-up podcast, because I felt myself that it is very important to have a follow-up podcast to address those questions, very important questions. And I'm very thankful to everyone who watched this, appreciated, put up their comments, they liked the video. And thank you so much for sharing the curiosity with me. So yes, please go ahead.
Perfect. One question is, several people ask this question, is why would a soul ever wish to be born in a family where there is suffering? And why would it like to exit from this world early?
Uh, Vasu, many a times when this question comes up to me, I give them the example of Mangal Pandey.
Mangal
This
Pandey. Oh,
Mangal
okay.
Pandey, he
Okay.
was one of those from the mutiny of India.
Yes, yes.
When the India gained its independence in the year of 1947.
Mm.
But the mutiny started at 1857, 90 years prior to this.
Right.
And how it started. And if you read the life of Mangal Pandey, he was sentenced to death at the age of 29. Now, if I look at it from the world, what is 29? That's not the age, right? But Mangal Pandey chose to be that rebel in that journey of independence.
Right.
The first rebel who started the mutiny in India, he was the spark that built up that fire, that helped in that period of 90 years to awaken that spark in every heart of an Indian that strived for independence. So he became the rebel, the first spark. What did he gain? At the age of 29, he was hanged.
Right.
But that age was very crucial for him to stand and oppose the Britishers of what they were doing. And by doing so, he embarked into that journey of every Indian who wanted independence from the Britishers. And it took 90 years from that time period for India to gain independence. Now, if I look at it, I would say at 29, what was the need? So understand, from a soul's perspective, it is not always pain. It is the journey. It is the learnings. And at a soul level, there is nothing called pain, or, it is always an experience. Like many of us, consider yourself and myself, I'm a postgraduate, right? There's someone from my school who would have actually ended their, school journey at the class 10th. Somebody went to do class 12th. Then another person would go and do MBA. Somebody would choose to do a doctorate. And somebody will choose to study further. Maybe there is no degree to it, but they'll keep researching about something. Why are they doing it? Why would you run a marathon for that reason? Don't you know that there is pain? But we are choosing those experiences. We want to learn something more. So somebody wanted to end their experience at class 10th, somebody chose to be at class 12th, somebody chose to be graduate, somebody chose to be postgraduate, somebody chose to be a doctorate, and somebody wanted to continue their life researching about a particular topic. Why? That's the soul's experience.
Right.
So that is the reason a soul will choose that in these many years, I would do this, right? So many people will simply end their lives doing nothing. But specific souls, when they choose their journey, they're very considerate of how many years they want to live. Take the example of Jesus Christ. He died at the age of 33.
Right.
Mangal Pandey at the age of 29. It is not necessary they choose a longer life or a shorter period of time. But it is important what is the message, what is the legacy that they're leaving behind. I have heard, many incidences wherein when I counsel people, they say after the death of so and so, at such a young child in the family, and they say our family members never used to talk to each other, but after this person's death, we started talking.
Okay.
So maybe that soul chose to bring that family together, right? It might have been, a rift between the two families or the siblings or maybe, the cousins. But that soul chose that with my departure from this earth, it will help the family to reunite. So we have to see when a soul chooses to leave early, what is the purpose behind it? What is it that it is leaving behind? And many a times we forget that even if they have left at a very young age, there is a message that they have left with us.
Yeah,
We
they've
have
left
to
a
live
mark.
with.
Yeah, they've left a mark, right? Yeah, got it.
My brother, for that reason, my brother left at 42. I have mentioned it in my previous video also. At that age when he left, it was a very young age and he wanted to live, he wanted to travel. But he sparked the same thing in me. Today I want to travel, today I want to do certain things which I always feared to do. So I love to do this because his death taught me that what you say in Hindi, कि जो मृत्यु है वो क्षण भंगुर है, जीवन जो है वो क्षण भंगुर है. It is momentary. Life is momentary. You don't know when it will end. So you live while you're alive.
Got it. I think that was a nice analogy that you gave,
So that is important.
Right. The other question, and this again was asked by a number of people, is that death is a loss for those who are left behind, right? Now, how do we cope with it? I think very briefly you had covered this in the last episode, but if you can just give a little more insight into this, how do we cope with that loss?
See, I do not deny that there is pain.
Right.
I do not deny there is grief. You will take time to overcome the absence of that person whom you loved so much. Right? Be it your parents, be it your sibling, be it your friend, be it your neighbor, whosoever has shared an imprint on your life. The physical presence, the moment it turns into an absence, it will be painful. And I always respect the grief. Take your time to grieve about it. But my request is do not be entangled with the grief. Rather, focus on what that person wanted to teach you, what that person wanted to, what his presence always meant for you. So definitely, I'm not denying that, you should not grieve. Take your time, heal yourself, but learn how to celebrate while they were alive. Many a times we keep postponing our dreams, we will do it sometime later. But what do you know about our own lives? How much time we have left? We don't know. So we have to learn how to live them. So my request to those people are that see what is it that the child or that that person who left wanted to tell you. Maybe you can celebrate or maybe you can relive their memories in a different way. So if it was a child, why don't you go and mentor some kids? Why don't you go to an orphanage and donate something in that person's name? If the person wanted to travel, go and travel and meet new people, because that's the spark that they have left you with. So ignite that spark rather than dimming it down by grief.
Right.
Ignite it back. Let their legacy, let their life be continued in a different form.
Right. Viva, thanks for addressing these questions so beautifully. Let's now get started with the topic of today's episode.
Yeah.
Now, fear of death is arguably one of the biggest fears that most of us experience. Why do we fear death so much, even though we know that it is inevitable? When we know that there is no escape from death, yet why do we fear it so much?
Okay. So it's very interesting topic actually. Uh, we fear what is uncertain.
Right?
We always fear the unknown. We always fear what we have not seen. When we look at death, when I normally speak to the people, they said, we have never been to death. So how do I know what happens afterwards? And there are different, emotions attached to death. Would it be painful? Would I be judged? Because many scriptures, many, traditions tell us that once you die, you will be judged. Now, if I ask you that even when alive, do we want ourselves to be judged? The
No,
answer is no,
no, absolutely not.
right? So, what happens after we die? If we were ever to be judged that you did this thing wrong, because believe it or not, being a human being, we have done good things, we have done bad things also. So, there is no escape from karma. From that karma, we have no escape. So, the moment we feel that we will be judged, because we have read it in many places, many of the scriptures tell us, many of the religious practices tell us that there is a judgment which is going to happen. you know you will be fried in the hot oil. I don't know what all. So there is a fear, there's a scare of how we will be judged.
Okay.
So one, there is an uncertainty. Second, there is a fear of judgment.
Okay.
But what if I have to tell you that many of the people who had near death experiences, or whose lives have been channeled by the psychics and the hypnotherapists over the time, they told that when they had this near death experiences, they were comforted, or the channelings that they received over the years, they have been comforted by the people on the other side. Now, who are the people? There might be guides, there would be, your ancestors, your loved ones on the other side. They have been approached and accepted. You are not being judged, because as I mentioned, the soul has come here to experience. Whether do you do it rightly or wrongly, it's like the mother who has given that crayon to the child to scribble. So whether he makes a right circle point to point, or he just scribbles it all over, whether she asked her to do it with yellow and he did it with blue, the effort will be appreciated, that you did something. And even if you have not done anything, you will not be judged. You will still be appreciated, or you will still be motivated to do something better in life, or
Okay.
maybe in the next lifetime. The another thing is, when we have unfulfilled lives, unlived lives, we have regrets, we have guilt. That's the point where life becomes very challenging for us. And we have this fear of death because we have not lived. My favorite quote is, may death find me alive when it finally meets me. I read it somewhere, and it touched me so much, because that's the motto of my life, that I want death to find me alive. Many of the people, and there is a very famous quote, I think it's in my favorite book, Tuesdays with Maury, and I recommend it to everyone. It says, many times we postpone our dreams as if we have so many years to live, but none of us actually know how much time we have left. So if we look at our lives to be precious enough to be invested, to be lived with passion, I feel you will not have the guilt when you leave. Think of everything. You wanted to eat something, you ate it. You wanted to do something, you did it. You yourself had that bungee jumping experience. How contented that felt. Imagine. I can imagine that. But many people will only say, I will do it someday. And that someday will never come. So it's important that we have fulfilled lives. Many a times we also feel that, that we will not be able to love people because that attachment will happen. And from the attachment has to be now lost once we die. But as I mentioned in my previous podcast, that love is that emotion that stays even when the person is not there. It travels through dimensions, and that is the reason any person who has died several years back, when we close our eyes, when we think of those emotions, those moments with those person, that love emerges back. We can feel that warmth, that care, that smile will come back to our faces. We will chuckle about how good that food she used to make. All those remembrances will come back because love never dies. That's one emotion that travels multiple dimensions, but it's in a different form now. And primarily, I also feel that, we have never been taught how to talk about death. Right from the childhood, I remember my childhood, my mother never used to let me go near a dead body. If somebody used to die, I used to be kept away from that place. We never talk about death. We never talk about growing. We never talk about aging. It's like you're telling a child how to be successful. But what if there is a failure? Does the child know how to handle a failure? Now, that's an important question. We must ask ourselves. We know how to handle life. We will tell our kids to go to school. We will tell them, get into good college, get married, have kids, grow old, die. But have we taught ourselves how we want to die? And the moment, there's a great saying from Tuesdays from Mori again. When we say, when you know how to die, you know how to live.
Yeah, that's a nice, very profound statement.
Yes, so we never talk about death. It's always a hush hush topic. Don't discuss, don't do that. Don't talk about pain. Don't talk about separation. It is going to happen. It's similar to, like, if you have your own child to be sent to army at war front, but then you prepare for it, right? Not just the child. As a parent also, you will prepare yourself.
Right.
That he is going for a different duty. There's a call of duty. He's going there. I have to be prepared. That is how we have to prepare for death. And the moment you understand that death can arrive any moment, you will start learning how to live wisely. I don't know if you have read this book, The Saint, the Surfer, and the CEO by Robin Sharma.
No, I have not read that.
Try reading that book.
I read the
Beautiful
other
book.
books of his, but I don't think I will read this book.
So
Okay.
there are three questions which the author, the protagonist asks. And it says, did I live wisely? There are three questions you have to answer. Did I live wisely? Did I love well? And did I serve greatly? The last three questions of your life. If
Okay.
all those three tick marks are there, don't worry, you have lived very well.
Right.
Don't have to fear.
Nice. You shared with us why we really fear death is because of the fear of the unknown, and then facing the consequences, or the fear of being judged, etc. Right. The other question is, we all fear death in varying degrees, and that's a fact, right? Now, what inner actions can we take to overcome this fear? Let me put it a little differently. Supposing there is somebody who knows that he or she has got 2 more years to live, that's it. What inner shift could they take, not externally but internally, to enjoy the time that is left? We want to know, so what can I do? Yeah, I mean, I know I'm going to die, right? But what do I do? We all know that we are going to die. When, we don't know. So what do I do? How do I get over that fear, the nagging fear that यार ये हो जाएगा, मैं मर जाऊंगा तो ये हो जाएगा, all those fears that we have? How do we overcome that?
Sivasu, I'll take it as if it is happening to me.
Okay.
Right? What you just asked me, if I have only 1 year to left, or maybe few months to live. What will I do? And what I believe, and I have started doing it, in fact, I would not postpone things to later. I don't know when that later will ever come or not. So the time is now.
Got it.
I want to eat something, I will eat it today. I want to wear that dress that I always dreamt of, and I always thought once I reach this and that much of money, if I want to wear that dress, I would not postpone it for tomorrow. I will wear it today. If I want to ask for forgiveness from someone, if I want to forgive someone, I'll do it today. If I have something, it is like moving from ego to essence. People stay in ego, they are unable to forgive, they're unable to change themselves because they have felt that there is ample life to do it. The moment you understand that there is a clock ticking, it will automatically, the ego will automatically melt down, and now you will have an essence of life. You will say, I have 30 days to live. How do I make it alive? What
Right.
can I do? So imagine if you have only 30 days, would you ever think that the childhood friend that you were not talking to for 30 years because of something that he did 30 years back, and you could not forgive for 30 years, it will take you 30 seconds to forgive him and come, start talking to that person, because you now know that it is essence, it is
In fact,
precious.
all these things become very, meaningless.
Meaningless,
Yes.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely meaningless. I wanted to probably learn how to dance. I will dance those 30 days.
Right.
You know, I wanted to have this food. I always wanted to have to go to this visit and this place. I'll do that. It is now living more purposefully than just wasting. If you have 30 days in your life, or maybe just 3 days in your life left, every minute, every second, every hour will become precious. Because now you will start not just postponing your dreams and passions, you want to do everything right now.
Right.
So, yes, the fear of death is there, but why not the joy of living? Why not have the happy moments? Why not be in the present moment itself? Why
Right.
not start asking yourself those three questions? Did I live wisely? You will start living wisely the moment you have a ticking, clock ticking for in front of you. Did I love well? You will forgive everyone and anyone, and you'll choose that I will love them irrespective of what they have done. Unconditionally, you'll start loving. And the moment you say the third question, did I serve well? You will be able to let go of even your precious things, so that I don't want this watch anymore. Let somebody live it. I don't want this so much of money. Let me donate it. Let somebody else be happy. I have had my share of life. You'll start doing that. The focus shifts the moment we understand that we have very less time. But we live in an imaginary world where we have this, uh, that we have ample time. We are going to live hundreds of years, but you don't know. I'm trying to live at that moment because my brother's sudden demise at age 42, and he had so many plans.
Right.
And when he left, that momentarily experience of, that everything is so fragile. But what makes me remember him so fondly is because while he was living, when he was alive, he was living it to the fullest. And that gives me the spark.
So, which means we don't know how much time is left for us on this earth. But if we can put ourselves, say, we have two more years, imaginary. We say that we have only 2 more years, boss. Now, what do I do? Think about all the things that we want to do in that 2 years. Maybe it could be a good idea for us to get over that fear. Okay, I know I'm accepting that I've got 2 years. I don't know actually, but I'm psyching myself into believing that I have only 2 more years. So those 2 years I'll enjoy. If I survive those 2 years, another 2 years I can put and say, okay, this next week I want to do that. Maybe that's something which we can do. I just thinking a lot. Does
You
it
know,
make sense?
the fear of death is one thing, but living in fear is a
Yes.
totally different thing.
Right.
So live while you can.
Got it. So, anything else you want to add on that, or this was an eye-opening thing which you said. Give yourself that time, and then live life to the full. Do whatever you want to do. Don't wait for the right time, the right opportunity, the right situation, and postpone things. That's the bottom line. What do you want to say? Okay.
So the time is now. The time
Absolutely.
is now.
Yeah. And they also say, that you need to live in the now. We all the time we
Yes.
think about what happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future. And typically this fear of death comes into the future. And we keep thinking, if I die, what'll happen? What'll happen to my partner? What happens to my family? What happens to my children, etc. And in that fear, we forget how to live.
So I fondly say that, between the past tense and and the future tense, we make our present so much tensed.
Exactly. Good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
don't make
viewers,
your present so tensed.
yes, absolutely. So viewers, wasn't that an amazing conversation? In closing, I would like to summarize this in saying that we spent much of our lives fearing death, and in that fear we forget to live. Today wasn't about answers; it was about seeing things more clearly. When we stop resisting the fact that life will end, something softens within us. See, death doesn't take meaning away from life, it gives it depth. And when that truth is met without fear, this moment is enough. Because I would like to leave you with two questions that you should ask yourself. Introspect. It will be an interesting exercise you should do. Has the fear of death ever stopped you from living fully or expressing yourself fully? Question number one. Question number two, if death wasn't something to fear, how would you live differently starting today? Ask yourself these two questions. It'll be an interesting exercise. And
Definitely.
yeah,
Very good questions. I'll appreciate people, reaching out on the comment section to answer these two questions. Very good questions, Vasu.
thank you. So, viewers, if you found value, please share this episode with others because the fear of death is something which most of us do experience. And also post your comments or your questions in the comment section. In the next episode, we will address the uncomfortable question. Are we afraid of death or are we afraid to live? What if the real fear isn't about death? It's about living fully while we are alive. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. So don't miss that episode. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, this could be the right time to do so. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Vibha, for your time today. It was a fantastic and very eye-opening session, I must say. See you guys in the next. Bye bye.
Thank you.